Hi guys, Scott Wood will be with you to talk about the second prelim final. The Melbourne Storm, the minor premiers, versus the New Zealand Warriors, who finished sixth in the competition, and probably lucky to be here actually, but they got home with a great win in the dying moments against West Tigers last week, against adverse circumstances. Fantastic win actually, and they're here, and they happen to be the one team that goes very well against the Melbourne Storm, and they in fact beat them last time they played down in Melbourne. And there's no question they have an undeniable chance in this game, but it's going to be a game of different strategies. We know what we're going to get with the Storm. They don't make a lot of errors. They're probably the best defensive team in the NRL. The Warriors are one of the worst defensive teams in the NRL. They have a high error rate. They miss a lot of tackles. And so normally you'd say, well, the Storm will be winning this game easy. But the fact of the matter is that the Warriors have got so much talent in their side, and their forward strength is so dominant, and they've got an outstanding bench. They can overcome all those negatives and still win a lot of games. And that was why they're such a hot and cold team. If they happen to be on and hot on Saturday night, they will probably win against the Melbourne Storm. The Melbourne Storm obviously have got a wonderful spine, probably the best club spine in the history of rugby league, just an incredible spine. And the Warriors have got probably the fastest spine I've ever seen. Certainly their 6, 7 and 1 are as quick as any players in the NRL. They get any sort of free space and they're away and gone. And to complement that, they have a wonderful forward pack. The difficulty with the Warriors is the experience of their 6 and 7. They haven't got what you call a go-to man, like the Melbourne Storm have got Cooper Cronk. They haven't got a go-to man, and they haven't got a real organiser like the Melbourne Storm have. So they get by on long tactical kicks and big forward power, try and get good field position and get home with some bombs, some grubbers, or just some quick play the balls and quick passes. And that's won them a lot of games. That's got them to the Final Four in the NRL, and they win this game, they're in the grand final. And I'm not prepared to say that they won't be winning the game. We look at the Melbourne Storm's team. There's a little doubt at the moment about Cooper Cronk. He certainly hasn't had a good week. I'll be very surprised if he's not passed up and he doesn't play. But certainly medically, it's not 100% with Cooper at the moment, as is Rory Kostjasyn has got some concerns, and also Maurice Blair. Maurice Blair has been one of the reasons why the Storm have gone very well this year, and there's a good chance that he'll be excluded off the bench along with Rory Kostjasyn. And that leaves a little bit of a dilemma for the coach. He has got a lot of journeymen in his team here. He's starting with two of them, Bryan, Norrie and Todd, Lowrie. And then on the bench you'll have Woolnough, Lowe, Thompson and Waqa. Now, all those guys I've mentioned, none of those guys, in my opinion, would make the starting side or the bench of the Warriors. So that'll give you an idea how many journeymen this Melbourne Storm are carrying. And the fact of the matter is that Billy Slater, Gareth, Widdop, Cooper Cronk and Cameron Smith are that good. They can actually carry those guys and still be minor premiers. That's just how good those guys are. And they may get away with it again. We know that they won't miss a lot of tackles. Their error count will probably be under double digits, and they will look the winners at some stage. And they may very well just do everything right and blow the Warriors off the park. If the Warriors turn up like they did 2 weeks ago against the Broncos, that certainly will be the case. But if the Warriors hang in against some awful referee decisions last week, and they can get near 50% of the referee decisions and possession, and it'll be a 50-50 crowd. I think there'll be a lot of Kiwis in this crowd. There's no question that the Warriors will overcome their mistakes, overcome their missed tackles, and they'll really take it to the Melbourne Storm. If they play them up the middle into the forwards, they have got a great chance here. It's only when they try and swing the ball wide where the great Melbourne defence is just too good for them and they hold them out. But I certainly give them a great chance. I'm not quite sure what the coach will do with the bench. He's named Elijah Taylor onto the bench this week. I'm guessing that he will probably start and Feleti Mateo will probably come off the bench. That's what I think will happen. I'm not quite sure what he'll do with Lance Hohaya, if he will start with him or not. But he's got a lot of options. Russell Packer, Ben Michelino, it's a fantastic bench. We look at the Melbourne Storm bench, and really they've only got Ryan Hinchcliffe, who I would class as a solid dinky-die first grader. He'll definitely be there every week. The other guys are very, very much borderline, and that's going to be the problem with the Melbourne Storm. They have to sustain this pressure. They'll do it because they're very good in the ruck. They'll ensure that the Warriors have slow play the balls, and they'll have the brilliance of Cooper Cronk organising their team and the speed of Gareth Widdop. And of course we have Cameron Smith, who is in the top 2 players in the world, in my opinion, and Billy Slater coming through from fullback. But, the Warriors have got Kevin Locke, and I expect Kevin Locke to be named as the New Zealand fullback in the upcoming Four Nations series. He's had a wonderful season. We said on round 1, when he was 3rd selection right wing, he couldn't even make the bench, and he couldn't even make the first grade team. And we commented then, why isn't Kevin Locke in the first grade team? He in fact should be fullback, and he was only a reserve for a wing position. We said then that he should be the fullback for New Zealand in front of Lance O'Hire, and it took half the season for the coach to actually make that happen. But he's finally there, and we can see what he's done there. He's just been wonderful. Now, the problem with the Storm here is that the Warriors don't know what the Storm don't know what the Warriors are going to do. The Warriors are so unstructured. They don't play the balls like the Melbourne Storm, and they don't stay in the tackles as long as what the Melbourne Storm. So they're certainly not as well coached, and they do a lot of things wrong. But for just sheer brute strength and talent, they can certainly win this game. You can throw all the stats out the window and they can win this game. If you want to go on stats, the Melbourne Storm will be winning this game comfortably. But stats don't always make the results. So for me, I think the line is right. I make it a converted try start to the Melbourne Storm. I think that's fair enough. I think they've deserved that. But if the Warriors turn up like they did in the second half against West Tigers last week, and they play through the forwards, and they make very good that go forward, and they give some space to Sean Johnson and James Maloney and Kevin Locke, they can certainly take this game and make it into the grand final. I don't think the winner of this game will be winning the grand final. I think the winner of the grand final will come from Friday night's game, but certainly this is a game of two fundamentally different type teams, and that's largely been brought about by the two coaches. I have a very high opinion of Craig Bellamy, the Melbourne Storm coach, and despite the fact the Warriors are now in the final four, watching how structured they are, how they play the ball, it's not sort of things that you'd see a Craig Bellamy team do, but it's just a wonderfully talented side, the Warriors, and we can't deny them a chance in this. I can only take the plus if I was going to have a bet in the game, but the prices look spot on. There's no value, so we won't be getting involved, but should be a great game. Really looking forward to it and hope you can back the winner. Talk to you soon. Cheers.